What it do? Yeah, you got the pulse report.
Welcome to the Pulse Report, y'all, man. Episode 6. I'm your host, Marco.
And I'm your co-host, the Joker One.
And man, we just want to say, man, thank each and every person that's been supporting the podcast this far, as we start off every podcast by saying so. Also, thank you to everyone who supported last week's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed your 4th of July. I want to welcome back my co-host who was celebrating a birthday, man. You enjoyed your birthday?
Man, I definitely enjoyed my birthday. I appreciate all the love that everybody showed me via social media or just calling me, you know, keeping it real, showing love. I appreciate all the love. I was out in Vegas, actually. That's why I wasn't able to, you know, do the podcast with Marco, but I know he held it down, as y'all heard on the last episode 5. Him and this guy, they did their thing, man. And I'm just here to, you know, be back, take my place. You know how it go, Marco.
Yeah, man. We definitely happy to have you back, man. You know, it didn't feel the same, but nonetheless, man, you here now. So, you know, real quick, we about to get started. But why don't you go ahead and tell them, man, how they can follow us and follow the podcast.
Yeah, no problem. You can follow us on Twitter at The Pulse Report. That's on Instagram, YouTube, and SoundCloud. And if you want to shoot us an email, that's thepulsereportsubmit at gmail.com.
All right. Appreciate that, man. All right, let's get started. Wow, man, I got 2 words for you. Aaron Judge.
Amazing.
Man, did you watch that home run derby, man?
Of course I did. I think I called you.
Yeah, I've never in my life seen somebody hit the ball that far in a home run derby, man. This guy hit the ceiling one time.
And they didn't count it.
Right, of a stadium or an arena, should we say. He hit the roof. But not only did he hit the roof, he sent the ball 513 feet. Like, how do you do that, man? This guy's a monster. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, I know everyone might not be up on baseball, but we are. If you get a chance, Google Aaron Judge. He plays for the Yankees, the New York Yankees. Shout out to the Yankees. Right now, they second in their division, but shout out to the Yankees. But Aaron Judge went out and totally demolished the field in the home run derby. I mean, he's one of the lead leaders in home runs in the league, and this is officially his first full year in the majors. The guy doesn't even make $1 million a year, and we know that baseball is one of those sports where you can get paid. I mean, that's how this guy just came out of left field, no pun intended. But he's really like that guy. So I want you guys to definitely, man, when you get a chance, be on the lookout for him. Again, his name is Aaron Judge. He plays for the Yankees. You can't miss him. I'm pretty sure he'll be the biggest guy on either team. He'll be the biggest guy
Definitely.
on each team. So,
Definitely.
Man, shout out to you, Aaron Judge, man. And I hope you guys' season go well, man. Shout out to the Yankees again.
I was about to say he the man, but don't forget about Bryce. Bryce, my guy. Shout out to the Nationals. I ain't
Bryce
gonna
is
never
the
forget
man.
about you, Bryce.
Yeah, no. But Aaron Judge is right behind him, man. It's like I said, it won't be too many years until Aaron Judge is the face of the MLB. I can guarantee you that. But I want to talk about America's most popular sport, which is the NFL, man. And it's a lot of interesting stories that played out last year. Not to really mention the Super Bowl or anything, but there were a lot of other stories that were much more interesting during the regular season. One of them was the Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I don't really like the Cowboys, but hey, I'm trying to be objective here. So shout out to the Cowboys. But we had, you know, an unheard of season, a very special season for 2 of their players, in Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. Both of them put up, you know, league leading numbers. Not necessarily the most in every category, but you know, for rookies, I mean, they were outstanding, with both of them at one point being in the MVP discussion for majority of the year, leading their team to division titles. They had an awesome year. And for me, I just want to know, you know, Josh, what do you think about their second year? Will we see a sophomore slump? Is the ceiling a glass ceiling? Is there no ceiling? Like, what do you? Let's start with Dak. Let's start with the quarterback. Where do you see Dak Prescott going in 2017, 2018 for the Dallas Cowboys?
I think the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, I think he remains the same. Somebody that does. He's not somebody that wows you, but he's not going to turn the ball over, and that's all you can ask for. Yeah, he's a game manager. I say he's probably a little bit better than Alex Smith, but I mean, like I said, he's not going to turn the ball over. You got a good offensive line, the best offensive line. You got Zeke in the backfield. He going to give you 1,600 yards as long as he's getting the necessary carries. I mean, will they have a sophomore slump? No. I just think the team won't be as good, though. What they did last year, I mean, that was just astonishing. I mean, salute to the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know how many games they won in a row, but, I mean, you saw once they got rolling, the rookies, they held it down. I mean, they lost to Aaron Rodgers, who is the greatest quarterback in the league. I don't know. Will they be that good again? I don't think so. But I think Dak and Zeke will remain the same players. Zeke going to give you, like I said, 1,600 yards, be first or second in yards. And Dak going to not turn the ball over. Not give you great numbers, but not going to give you horrible numbers either. He going to be right in the middle.
Just to give you guys a quick glance at some stats. So Dak Prescott, he finished the season with 3,667 yards. Not, of course, again, not the top of the NFL, but I mean, that's pretty damn good for a rookie with 23 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions in his rookie year. I mean, that's pretty impressive. But again, like you said, they did have the best offensive line, or they do have the best offensive line in football. But we'll see what happens with Dak. My personal take on it, like you said, I don't really see it going. I don't really see him like really improving much. Maybe the touchdowns. Maybe he can have more touchdowns, more than 23. But with that balanced running attack and with Ezekiel Elliott doing what he does, I mean, it should open up the game if Dez Bryant can stay healthy, and they could really have a more dependable number 2 receiver. I think that the gate is wide open, man. I think as Michael Jordan would say, the ceiling is the roof. I know not too many people know what that means.
The ceiling is the roof.
But yeah, but let's move on to Zeke, man. So what do you think about Zeke? Do you think Zeke, I mean, he had a phenomenal year. Like, how do you think that plays out for him?
I think, like I said, I think he's just going to be consistent. As long as he's getting those carries, he should feed them. He going to get the yards. They got the best offensive line, so the holes will be there, and Zeke is a good back. So you put 1 and 2 together, you're going to get what you got last year. I think he's going to be around that 15, 16 mark. Anything better than that is just, it'll be time to give these young bulls the respect they deserve.
And I know some people are going to come in my neck about this one, but I've been on record saying that I think in a couple years, Ezekiel Elliott will be the best running back in the NFL. I've said that, but I also feel like after watching David Johnson and what he can do, honestly, right now, I think David Johnson is the best running back in the NFL.
Whoa.
And I know some people want to say Le'Veon Bell and some people want to say even Ezekiel Elliott, or maybe even in retrospect Adrian Peterson. But I'm trying to tell you, if people pay attention to what David Johnson does in an NFL game, I guarantee you he will blow you away with his performance on the football field. You have to pay attention to how well he is in open field. He's a big back who usually, if you go straight up, it's going to take more than one guy to tackle him. He's fast. He played wide receiver in college. Like, people forget that. So he plays coming out of the backfield and catching footballs. He does that probably better than any other, running back in the league. And he managed to come in and take the league by storm due to injury with all of the backs in Arizona a couple years. You honestly, you really have to pay attention to his stats. I had him on my fantasy team, and he was, to me, the fantasy MVP. If you go look at the stats, his touchdowns, receiving touchdowns, his receptions, receiving yards, complemented by his running back statistics, I guarantee you wouldn't be in such wild feeling about what I'm saying right now.
No, I'm not in wow. It's not like David Johnson's not a top 2-3 back in the league. I just don't think he's better than Le'Veon Bell. I feel like all of that you said, Le'Veon is a better runner. He got his own style that people are trying to imitate now. That patience, that sitting behind the line, being just waiting for the hole to open up and he hitting it. And he got the speed, the power. He can catch out the backfield and he can block. I mean, David Johnson, nice. David Johnson, nice. I mean,
I don't know if I wouldn't call David. I wouldn't say that Le'Veon is a great blocking running back, but I mean, I see where you're going with that. But I mean, I just think that Le'Veon is great. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying that Le'Veon can. Like, if somebody wanted to tell me that Le'Veon Bell was the best running back in football, I couldn't sit here and say that you're wrong. My personal opinion is that with everything David Johnson brings to the game, complemented by his size as a running back, being able to block, being able to break tackles, like, those are the things to me that make him a better total running back. Like I said, man, you gotta go look at the numbers, man.
I'm looking at the looking at the numbers right now. I'm looking at Le'Veon.
Read the numbers.
Yeah. First of all, I'm gonna say Le'Veon is 6'2", 230. And David Johnson 6'1", 224. So they're around the same size.
Man, that's clearly, well, we know for a fact that whoever listed those, that's got to be wrong. David Johnson is clearly bigger than Le'Veon Bell. Clearly.
Okay. Well, I'm just looking at the numbers. In 12 games, Le'Veon had 1,268 yards. What is that? 7 touchdowns. Receiving, he had 75 receptions for 612 yards. That was in 12 games. David Johnson had 1,239 yards with 16 touchdowns. His receiving, he had 80 receptions for 879. But remember, when I read you those numbers, he played 4 more games than Le'Veon did. And Le'Veon is just about there.
Right, but also the Cardinals have way more receivers than they have up in Pittsburgh.
Okay, I give you that. But it ain't like Pittsburgh don't throw just as much with Big Ben and AB.
I mean, you could say that. But I mean, majority of the time he's throwing it to AB, and as you can see, it kind of makes the Steelers. It makes the Steelers very beatable at times,
right?
Especially with their terrible defense.
Once Martavius come back, that's gonna open up.
What I'm saying is, like you said, he played 3 or 4 less games. Cool. I can't fault David Johnson.
You right.
But all I'm saying is, David Johnson went crazy when he had his opportunity to play running back. Mind you, this guy didn't come in the league as a star running back or as the starting running back. This guy's the starting running back by circumstance due to injury. And for me, honestly, I love a good story. Like, I love, like, the underdog story. And not to say that he was an underdog or anything, but he was, third string running back. And now he's, like I said, one of the best running backs in the league. And if you look at, like I said, his receptions, he had 80 receptions.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
80.
That's impressive.
Those are wide receiver numbers. 80 receptions for almost, well, he had 879 yards. So that means he was 121 yards away from 1,000 receiving yards. 1,000 receiving yards.
He was beasting out.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Amazing.
Like I said, I personally think because of those type of statistics that makes David Johnson the best running back in all of football because of his versatility and his ability to be on the field at all times. If you're passing, if you need pass blocking, if you're running, whatever the case, he's your guy at all times.
Well, I feel like that with Le'Veon. Okay. So we gonna agree to disagree.
I guess we just gonna have to agree to disagree.
Facts.
All right, we'll take that. We'll take that. But I want to move on to something else, man. I'm a fan of the Hard Knocks franchise that comes on HBO, which documents and shows you like the preseason and training camp for NFL teams. For those who don't know, if you're living under a rock. And last year the Rams were on there. And we know what happened with the Rams season. Shout out to the Rams, man. I hope you guys have a better season.
Yeah, whatever.
But, they were dealing with the dilemma of should they start their rookie quarterback and things of that nature. So now they have their quarterback, Jared Goff, the number 1 pick in the last year's draft. And he didn't really do much. Kind of showed you small glimpses of what he can be throughout the season when he had his chance to start. But he was under Jeff Fisher. And as we know, Jeff Fisher got fired.
Horrible.
And then they brought in Sean McVay. So Sean McVay, for those who don't know, was on the Redskins coaching staff. And Sean McVay basically turned Kirk Cousins into one of the best quarterbacks in the league statistically. Statistically, people. I'm not calling him one of the best quarterbacks, but statistically.
Hold on, before you
he was one of the best quarterbacks.
Before you even continue, should the Redskins pay him the money or no?
I think you have to.
Okay.
What other options do you have?
Facts. Continue.
I mean, honestly. Yeah.
You're right. I agree.
So Sean McVay is now the head coach. Do you think Sean McVay can turn this Rams team, not just Jared Goff, but this Rams team, primarily their offense, into an offense to be reckoned with in the NFL?
I mean, first of all, you're hoping that Jared Goff is who you think he is. And if he is, you have to give him some weapons. I mean, I'm looking at this receiving core. If Tavon Austin is your best weapon, that's a problem. You're expecting a young quarterback to do damage with Tavon Austin being his best weapon, and y'all in a division where y'all play the Seahawks, the 49ers. I mean, those are defensive teams. It's not going to be easy, so of course he's not going to look good. So I'm not expecting the Rams to do too much this year, but at least we need to see the progression of Jared Goff, that he's understanding the playbook, that he understands the speed. He can, control the game, control the tempo, maybe get a few comeback situations. Just throw him in certain situations just to see if he's going to be the quarterback of the future. That's all I can see the Rams doing from this point. You lucky that you got Aaron Donald. I like the corner Tremaine Johnson. And honestly, I think Todd Gurley could be the best back in the league, but it's hard to see with how horrible the Rams have been. It's crazy.
Nah, I totally agree, man. Todd Gurley is the man. He had a terrible second year in the league, seeing as how great he was the year before. But like you said, the Rams were so bad. I mean, I don't even know if he had a 100-yard game, but if he did, I'm pretty sure it was less than 1 or 2. As I would pull up the statistics, but we're talking about the Rams, so I'm really not gonna give it that much attention. But I just wanted to talk about that because they were on Hard Knocks last year, and like I said, they have a coach that's supposed to get that offense going, and like you said, Tavon Austin, and oh man, it's going to be a long season. But hey, Jared Goff, you can do it, man. If Kirk Cousins can come out of nowhere and do something,
but they gave Kirk the weapons, but they gave him necessary weapons.
But
D-Jack,
let's be honest, the Redskins probably had B-list wide receivers. Let's just call a spade a spade.
I mean, I take D-Jack, Pierre Garçon, and Jordan Reed came out of nowhere looking like probably the second best tight end behind Gronk. I mean, they had a nice receiving core, and I forget the young speed receiver. I forget the name from the Redskins, but he was another weapon. Showed itself towards the end of the season. Versus if the Redskins are B, what you gonna call the Rams? D?
Absolutely. But the Redskins, like you said, I mean, D-Jack stayed hurt. Pierre Garçon was kind of like your possession receiver. You had Jamison Crowder. He was pretty good, but he's like your deep ball threat, I guess. Your speedster. Yeah. But I mean, those guys are still, they were nobodies. At some type of sense. Like Pierre Garçon, basically his best days were kind of behind him. The same thing about D-Jack. Jamison Crowder kind of came out of nowhere, and Jordan Reed up until this year, and I mean he even ran into it this year. He couldn't stay on the field. Injury prone. So for me, it was different. It was difficult to say the Redskins had a strong receiving core.
I ain't gonna call it strong. I'm just gonna say it's a lot better for Kirk Cousins to be successful in that than Jared Goff to be successful in his situation. That's all I'm saying.
Totally understandable. Again, but like I said, it's going to be a second year. I'm not expecting him to, be a Pro Bowl quarterback. I just wanted to see. Do you think Sean McVay can make this guy a good quarterback?
Yes.
Okay. We'll see. Well, we'll see how that go, man. Shout out to the Rams, man. If you're a Rams fan, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Hey, listen. One thing you'll learn about me is I throw shade at all teams. Okay. But that's going to lead me into my next segment, which I was talking about Hard Knocks, and the reason I brought that up is because my team, yes, I said my team, for those who don't know, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm biased, of course, because it's my team, but tell me, what do you think? Is there upside to this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team who went 9-7 last year and finished second in the division to NFC champions, the Atlanta Falcons? So what do you think about the Tampa Bay Bucs and what they have going on over there?
Hey, shout out to Kim and the Atlanta Falcons for blowing the Super Bowl. But Tampa Bay could definitely turn the corner. I feel like Jameis is one of those guys. He's going to start growing into one of those elite quarterbacks. I'm not going to say elite, second tier. He's going to become one of them second tier, and with him having Mike Evans, because Mike Evans is a stud. That man can go get it. I mean, I feel like y'all adding D-Jack, another deep ball threat, and drafting that tight end from Alabama, y'all going to be a problem.
I am happy with the things that we've done as far as the draft and drafting Howard. And I think he's going to be pretty good. I'm not sure if he's our starting tight end because we still have Cameron Brate, but I think the guy has pretty good upside, man. So I think the Bucs are going to be a team to be looking out for. I'm going to be honest. I'm a realist. Like I tell people all the time, I do think Atlanta will probably repeat as division champs.
You never know. But, watch out for Killer Cam.
Hey, man. It's any given Sunday.
Watch out for Killer Cam.
I'm over the Carolina Panthers train, man. I think that, that train is coming down.
How can you be over the Cam Newton train? How?
I was never even on the Cam Newton train. Let's just put that out there.
Wow.
Listen, Cam is cool. And I think, Cam has all of the tools, but Cam be tripping sometimes, man. Cam don't like Cam not the type of guy that steps out and say, hey, it was me. And that's just what I get from him. I don't know him personally.
Yeah.
But that's what I get from Cam.
I ain't talking about all that. I'm talking about on the grass, on that turf, Cam Newton.
But I'm not worried, but they don't have, listen, Kelvin Benjamin, I think he's a stud. I don't think they have enough weapons anymore. I really don't. And I think that defense, it's still a good defense, but slowly but surely it's deteriorating. And it's showing. I mean, we're talking about a team that we're right now talking about a team that 2 years ago went to the Super Bowl, and last year they finished 6-10. I don't feel like we should be talking about them right now.
You disrespectful.
I'm just being honest.
Cam was hurt, and the defense had to learn from the transition from not having Norman.
Listen, man.
That was a big piece. They were stupid for letting him go.
We just talked about the Rams. The Rams were 4-12. That's enough of trash teams for the week. We not talking about no.
So why did we
if you
bring
didn't
up the
finish
Bucs?
500 or above? Huh? What you mean we went 9-7? Yo, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Yo, by the way, Josh is a Raiders fan, so you see how he throwing all these little jokes out here.
The Raiders beat the Bucs.
They have one little good season. And now he wants to sit here and talk about the
Raider
Raiders.
Nation.
Wasn't nobody talking about the Raiders?
Raider Nation.
Nobody was talking about the Raiders, man. Nobody. Right. And y'all still gonna do the same thing this year. Y'all gonna probably win 12 to 13 games. 13 might be a stretch. Y'all gonna win 11 to 12 games.
Okay.
And then play in a wild card and lose.
Stop it. We're gonna win. We're gonna win a division this year. We're gonna be better than the Chiefs, and then we're gonna advance. As long as Derek Carr doesn't go down, we will at least advance to the AFC Championship.
This is what's gonna happen. Well, here, let me tell you something. Elimination. How about that? That's my word for the week. Elimination. My team got eliminated from the playoff hunt late in the season. Elimination. How about that? Y'all gonna lose in the. Y'all heard it first. Marco said it on the Pulse Report, episode 6. The Raiders are gonna lose in the wild card game. Make sure y'all give me my props when it happens.
Yeah, all right.
But you know what? I'm glad you brought up the AFC. I'm glad you brought up the AFC because do you think y'all have the toughest division? I've heard you say that before. Y'all have the toughest division in the NFL. Do you truly believe that?
Yes.
The Raiders, by the way.
Yes. I honestly believe.
How?
What do you mean? We got the Denver Broncos. We got the Kansas City Chiefs, us, And the San Diego Chargers. We was by far the toughest team, the toughest division last year. Name a get
due to injury.
Who do you
listen?
Who would you put? That's all I'm gonna ask. Who would you say was
the toughest division?
Yeah, a tougher division.
Well, I think the toughest division is honestly to me the same division every year. I think the toughest division is the NFC East, and this is why. The NFC East doesn't consist of a powerhouse team every year. Like, the same team isn't a powerhouse team every year. The NFC East is wide open almost every year for anyone to win. Not to say that they don't have good teams, but they either have teams that are really good, 1 to 2 every year, or they all suck, so they don't have no choice but to fight for the bottom. But between the Redskins, the Giants, and the Cowboys the last couple years, NFC East by far is the toughest division in the NFL. And honestly, way more entertaining than your AFC West. Because I tell you what, if you give me the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Redskins, and the Eagles, and you tell me that I have to sit there and watch the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chargers, I'll watch the NFC East way more than the AFC West.
They got more exciting players. We're talking about
Alex Smith.
Yeah, they got more exciting players.
They have more exciting football teams. Period.
Nah.
More exciting football teams.
They got exciting players.
We're talking about the Chiefs. We're talking about the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chargers. Phillip Rivers. I like Phillip Rivers. I don't want to throw too much shade, but Phillip Rivers, something be up with you, man. You start off hot all the time, and then you somehow end up at the bottom of the batch.
His receivers get hurt every year. I love it. Thank you.
Right. So now we're talking about, let's go to the Broncos. The Broncos do not have, I don't know who their quarterback is right now.
I don't even think they know who their quarterback is.
Like, they don't exactly. And then we're talking about Derek Carr. Derek Carr, I like you, Derek Carr. I'm not gonna give you too much. Like I said, you gotta do it more than 1 year. But you had a pretty good year. Shout out to the Raiders, man. The Raiders had a pretty good offense, passing the ball. But let's just say, let's just give the Raiders the praise that they deserve. Still, they're the only team honestly worth mentioning in the division. Like, nobody ever thinks about the Chiefs. The Chiefs, shout out to Andy Reid, man. He has them guys prepared every year, but they don't always win it. They don't win deep into the playoffs.
Neither does the NFC East.
Right, but the NFC East is entertaining all year long.
That's because all year long, like you said, either they're all really good or they all really suck. Their division is always up for grabs. That doesn't mean that it's more exciting.
So what would you say? What would you say about it last year then? Because they weren't all really good, and they also all didn't really suck.
It was interesting because the Cowboys went on their 13-3 run, but they lost twice to the Giants, who was also a good competitive team. But after those two, the Redskins was and the Eagles suck.
Yeah, but the Redskins just won the division last year.
I mean,
right?
Yeah, that's the same thing in our division. The Broncos just won the division last year. It was
but the Broncos weren't out there with Trevor Siemian.
Nah, they had a weak Peyton Manning. You probably better quarterback than Peyton Manning.
Honestly, listen. Let me tell everybody something. I'm an athlete, okay? I'm an athlete, but I suck at playing quarterback, man. I can't. I'll throw a football really well one time, and the second time it'll look like I got shot while I was throwing the football. I suck at throwing the football, man.
This man,
I really do.
Stick to b-ball, bro.
I really do.
Stick to b-ball.
Listen, hold on, wait. I'm very good at football, though. Hold on, I'm just not a quarterback. Let's get that straight.
You all right?
You feel what I'm saying?
You all right?
So let's just put that out there. But again, man, I'm sticking with my guns on that one, man. And honestly, well, I want to be biased and say the NFC South, but they fell off in the last couple years.
Yeah, but, like you said, nobody can stay consistent.
Yeah, but again, I'm going with the NFC East. And, I would love to know what you guys think. I think we're going to make a post. We're going to make a post when we release this episode.
Definitely.
And we're going to ask, the people what you guys think. Who do you guys think is the toughest division?
I already know them NFL. Cowboys fans. Here we go. I already know it's coming.
Is it me or do the Cowboys have the worst fans in America? Like,
my man,
arguing with a Cowboys fan is like talking to a brick wall. Like, is it just me or Am I not alone in this?
Nah, you're not alone. My one friend Tay, he don't watch no other football games unless it's the Cowboys. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. Shout out to Tay, man, but he crazy when it comes to the Cowboys, just like all these other fans, man. I don't know what to say. That's why I hate the Cowboys. It's not even the Cowboys. I hate the fans.
Well, hey, I would say shout out to the Cowboys again, but I gave them enough love for the day, and it was fake love. Shout out to Drake. It was fake love. I'm just letting everybody know. I don't like the Cowboys. So if I ever say anything about the Cowboys that's good, I'm being 100% fake. I'm just letting you know right now. If I say anything good about the Cowboys, I'm being 100% fake. Outside of, I do like Ezekiel Elliott as a running back. That's real. I really do. But other than that, the Cowboys are trash.
Everybody on their team get arrested. I saw another linebacker got arrested for something. I'm like, everybody for Dallas get arrested. It's crazy.
Honestly, if you want to be with the Cowboys, you might want to go get arrested first so you can beat the system. Like, that's just honestly how I feel. You know what I'm saying? But football is right back around the corner for a lot of people who've been waiting. So we're gonna leave it at that, man.
Man, I can't wait.
I just want to say, man, again, we about to wrap this thing up. I want to thank everybody who's been supporting the podcast, who's been listening. And honestly, man, I just want to tell you guys, I really, really appreciate everybody that's, not even just listening, who's providing feedback, man. We're very welcoming to feedback. We're trying to get better. We actually have something coming up really, really special for you guys. I don't want to give it away just yet, but big ideas, some big things coming up. We got something, man, where you guys are going to be able to interact with us on a new level. So please be looking out for that. Also, make sure you guys, man, use the comment section on YouTube, especially. Like, we're here to try to make this podcast for all of us, man. Don't forget that this is not just our podcast. This is all of our podcasts. So, man, I just want to say again, thank you to each and every one of y'all, man. And please be on the lookout for us, because we coming. We coming, man. We coming for the number one spot.
We coming. Let them know.
Hey, it's real over here. You feel what I'm saying?
We coming for the number one spot.
Be on the lookout for our Instagram posts, so you guys can kind of interact, take some of the polls and everything. And again, Josh, tell them where they can follow us at on social media real quick.
Most definitely. On Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and SoundCloud, you can follow us at The Pulse Report. You can send us some emails at thepulsereportsubmit@gmail.com. We will really appreciate you guys to give us some criticism and let us know what we need to work on, because we already know we great, but sometimes we just need to, hear that constructive criticism, man. It's nothing for us to go to the top. We taking it one step at a time, and we'll really appreciate your feedback.
You feel me? So y'all, man, definitely get on this TPR train, man, and enjoy the ride. But we ain't gonna hold y'all no longer, man. I hope everybody, man, enjoy their week. You know what I'm saying? And again, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to tell their cousins, their baby father, and their illegitimate children to listen to the podcast, man. You feel me? Just listen to the podcast. We only want 30-40 minutes out of your day, man. Once a week. That's all we ask. So
that's all we ask. Making money moves.
Tell Josh to never do that again. Never do that again.
Hey, you can't say that song no crank, man. Shout out to Cardi B, man.
Shout out to Cardi B, right, man. There. But hey, man, we're gonna catch y'all next week, man. TPR, we out.
We out here.
What it do? You got the pulse report.